Every story you hear on this channel comes straight from our community. These are experiences shared by subscribers, retold by us, and inspired by real moments we've lived through and witnessed. We bring you new stories every single day, hoping they grab your attention, move you, and keep you coming back. Thank you for being here. Jenna was in the kitchen that morning, wearing the same oversized sweatshirt she always pulled on when she wanted comfort. Her hair was tied in a loose bun, no makeup, no effort, just her natural self. She looked exactly like the woman I once fell in love with, yet her eyes told a different story. The way she glanced at me, it wasn't love, it wasn't warmth. It was the look you give a chair you've walked past 1,000 times. That's what I had become. The day began like any other. I brewed coffee, poured a mug for her, filled my travel cup, and slung my bag over my shoulder. Before leaving, I turned back with a grin, trying to spark a little connection. "Hey babe, what's your biggest wish today?" I asked, half joking, half hoping for a smile. She didn't pause, didn't soften. She just looked up from her phone and said flatly, that I'd never have to touch you again. For a second, I froze. Maybe she was joking. Maybe I misheard. Maybe she was just in a mood. But then she calmly lifted her mug, sipped, and without even blinking, she added, "I'm serious, Eric. I can't stand being close to you." No anger, no sarcasm, no dramatic eye roll. Just cold indifference, like she was ordering takeout. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just nodded once, walked out the door, and headed to work. On the outside, I looked calm. On the inside, something broke. Not rage, not grief, just a hollow silence that told me the truth. She didn't love me anymore, and I'd been too blind to see it. Jenna and I had been married 8 years. We first met through friends at a wedding in Santa Fe, danced until midnight, and never stopped talking after that. She had this spark. Funny, quick-witted, sharp in a way that matched my dry humor. She worked in marketing, I was in construction before moving into project management. Life wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. We bought a fixer-upper in a Denver suburb. I rebuilt the walls. She picked the colors. We hosted barbecues, game nights, and even started conversations about kids before the pandemic slowed everything down. But little by little, something faded on her end. It began with excuses. "Not tonight. I'm exhausted. Work's too much." I believed her. I wanted to believe her. Every couple hits rough patches, right? But rough patches don't stretch into 3 years of eye rolls, sighs, and the feeling of being unwanted every time I reached for her hand. I'd surprise her with flowers. No reaction. I planned a weekend in Breckenridge. She brushed it off as stressful. Anytime I leaned in for intimacy, she recoiled like I was repulsive. Still I stayed. I worked. I cooked. I folded the laundry. I kept the mortgage current, fixed the yard, paid the bills. I even stopped asking for closeness because rejection hurt too much. So when she told me she never wanted to touch me again, it wasn't news. It was confirmation. In her eyes, I wasn't her husband anymore. I was just a provider, a roommate she barely tolerated. That night, I didn't confront her. I didn't beg. I didn't argue. I went to the guest room, stared at the ceiling, and decided I was done. But I wouldn't storm out like a fool. I'd leave quietly, like a ghost. The next morning, while she was still asleep, I called my friend Marcus, an attorney. I told him I wanted everything safeguarded. My accounts, my credit, my assets. He asked if another man was involved. I told him it didn't matter. Whether there was or not, the love was gone, and I wasn't going to let myself be bled dry emotionally or financially. For 2 weeks, I moved in silence. My paychecks went into a private account. The joint cards were frozen. I shifted the SUV title into my name, pulled savings, set up a trust for the house. Slowly, I packed essentials: passport, birth certificate, tax records, my dad's watch, and a few changes of clothes. I hid them in a suitcase in the garage. Around Jenna, I played the role. She barely noticed. She was glued to her phone, venting about coworkers or money for her nails. I nodded, pretended, and sipped my beer. One evening she asked, "Why are you so quiet lately?" I shrugged. "Just tired." She didn't push. I started hitting the gym, not for revenge, just to clear my head, to feel alive again. I slept better, ate better. Bit by bit, I felt like myself again. The version of me that existed before this marriage drained me. And funny enough, the calmer I became, the more unsettled she looked. It was as if she wanted me to beg, to fight for her, but I didn't. That silence scared her more than any argument ever could. 3 days before I left, I cleared my side of the closet, leaving just enough to keep her from suspecting. Then, on a Thursday while she was at lunch with Danielle, I grabbed my suitcase, documents, and keys, walked out the front door, and never looked back. She didn't realize until the next morning when her card was declined at Target and the house felt too still. She called my phone, straight to voicemail. I had already blocked her. By then, I was in a long-stay apartment near Fort Collins. Nothing fancy, just clean, private, and quiet. I sat on the edge of that bed, alone for the first time in years, and felt something I hadn't felt in forever. Peace. No goodbye note, no text, no voicemail, just silence. Because silence says more than words ever can. When Jenna finally understood I was gone, it was already too late. Her world began unraveling the same day mine started to rebuild. She discovered the frozen accounts while trying to pay for lunch. Her cards declined, one after another. She called me relentlessly. I blocked every number. Later, she emailed. The subject line read, "Where are you?" The message was desperate. "This isn't funny. If you're trying to hurt me, congratulations. It's working." I didn't respond. Meanwhile, I built a new routine. Wake up at 6:30, brew strong coffee, hit the gym, work from my little desk by the window, cook simple meals, journal, call my brother in Austin, finally open up. He didn't scold me. He just said, "Took you long enough." For the first time in years, sunlight didn't feel heavy. It felt like breathing. By week 2, Jenna's Instagram was no longer brunch photos and staged smiles. Instead, she posted cryptic quotes about betrayal and pain. One of her friends DM'd me, "Jenna's not doing well. Just thought you should know." I left it unread. She was finally tasting the silence I'd endured for years. On day 20, she showed up. I was leaving the office when I saw her across the street. Hair messy, sweatpants, no makeup, the rawest I'd ever seen her. She rushed toward me. "Eric," she gasped, grabbing my arm. "What is this? What are you doing to me? Can we please talk?" I looked her in the eye and asked, "Do you remember what you told me that morning? That you never wanted to touch me again?" She blinked. No answer. "Well, now you don't have to," I told her, brushing her hand off and walking straight to my car. She broke down right there on the sidewalk, crying while strangers stared. I didn't look back. 1 week later, my lawyer sent over the finalized paperwork. I had filed for divorce quietly. Thanks to Colorado's no-fault laws, it was straightforward. All I needed was proof of separation, and I had been separated from her in every way that mattered for years. This was just the legal formality. I forwarded her the documents. That same night, she texted me from a new number. "How can you be so cold after everything?" I read it over and over, and it struck me. She never said she missed me, never said she loved me, never apologized. It was all about her confusion, her discomfort, her shock. That's when I understood. She didn't regret losing me. She regretted losing control. By week 4, the desperation was setting in. Her car disappeared, likely repossessed because she couldn't make the payments. She was constantly changing phone numbers, probably from unpaid bills. On Facebook, she started posting about toxic men, emotional abuse, fresh starts, classic blame shifting. She even reached out to my mom, trying to play the victim. But my mom shut her down. "Sweetheart, my son gave everything he had for years. He's finished. Maybe it's time you are too." That ended that. The clearest moment that I knew I'd broken free came when she sent me a bathroom selfie. Sitting on the floor, mascara streaked, eyes swollen, one single word, "Please." But it wasn't, "Please forgive me." It wasn't, "Please I was wrong." It was, "Please save me." And I wasn't that man anymore. I wasn't her emotional punching bag. I wasn't her walking ATM. She wanted pity. I gave her silence. And here's the truth. Leaving wasn't the hardest part. The hardest part was resisting the urge to answer when she begged. The hardest part was staying gone when the memories of our wedding in Santa Fe or those old movie nights tried to sneak in. But those memories had been buried long ago, and she was the one who shoveled the dirt. I just refused to stand by the grave anymore. She didn't stop. Not after 1 month. Not after 2. Jenna tried everything. Texts from random numbers, endless emails, voicemails from unknown callers, even packages left at my leasing office. I never answered. Not once. And I didn't block at all, either. I let it come through. I wanted her to feel what it was like to chase a ghost, because that's what I had become to her. She tried every angle, acting innocent, pretending to flirt, reminiscing, pleading, but never once did she say the words that mattered. Never once did she admit, I was wrong. You didn't deserve that. Because she couldn't. Jenna could confess pain, but never guilt. She didn't want to be wrong. She just wanted the benefits of me back in her life. But I wasn't hers anymore. 3 months after I walked out, she sent an email that stopped me. Not because it was moving, but because it was pathetic. Subject line: I can't do this anymore. I don't have anyone else. Attached was a photo of her couch, a box of Kraft mac and cheese, and a nearly empty fridge. The message was one paragraph. I know I was distant. I know I said awful things. But I'm in a dark place. I need to talk to you. I miss you, Eric. Not just the life, but you. Please meet me. Sitting at my desk, reading it, I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Nothing at all. And that's when I agreed to meet. Not because I wanted her back, but because I wanted closure. I needed her to see what she'd thrown away, face to face. We met at a diner in Golden, Colorado. Quiet. Neutral. I showed up 10 minutes early, ordered a black coffee, and waited in a corner booth. When she walked in, I barely recognized her. The woman who once spent hours getting ready just to run errands looked drained, pale, hair flat, drowning in an oversized hoodie. But this time, the emptiness in her eyes wasn't cold. It was desperate. She slid into the booth across from me and whispered, "Hi." "Hey," I said back, like I was greeting a stranger. Because that's exactly what she had become. The silence between us was suffocating until she finally spoke. "I'm sorry for what I said that day, about my biggest wish. I didn't mean it. I was angry. I was trapped. I was taking it out on you, but you didn't deserve it." She fidgeted with her hands, voice shaky. "These last few months have been hell. I lost the car. I had to leave the house. My credit's ruined. Danielle stopped talking to me. Everyone's gone. I never thought it would all collapse so fast." I nodded but said nothing. She leaned in, voice breaking. "I miss you, Eric. Not just the house or the life. I miss you. I miss how safe I felt with you." Finally, I looked her dead in the eyes. "You miss how easy I made your life. You miss the way I gave and asked for nothing back. You miss the stability. But that's not love, Jenna. That's convenience." Tears welled up. "People say things they don't mean sometimes," she whispered. I shook my head. "No. People speak the truth when they feel safe. You said it because you believed it. And that's fine. Because now I feel something too. Clarity." The waitress refilled my coffee. Jenna didn't order a thing. We sat like two strangers with a shared past neither of us wanted to touch. She tried again. "Can't we rebuild?" "No," I said calmly. "I'm not yours anymore." Her face cracked. She covered her mouth to muffle a sob. "I'll do better," she whispered. "I already did better," I told her. What she didn't know was that for the past month, I'd been seeing someone. Her name was Isla. We weren't rushing into anything, but she laughed at my jokes, touched my arm when we talked, and looked at me like I mattered. It wasn't about revenge. It was about warmth. About humanity. About feeling alive again. And I wasn't about to let Jenna's coldness steal that from me. When we stood to leave, she tried to hug me. I stepped back. "I'm not doing that," I said. She nodded, eyes on the floor. "I just wish I'd realized sooner." I tilted my head. "No, you realized. You just didn't care until it was gone." Then I walked out into the cool Colorado air, lighter than I'd felt in years. She sent a few more texts afterward. I never replied. I didn't even block her. I let her keep screaming into the void, because that silence was her new reality, and I was never stepping back into it. Now, months later, I'm still in Fort Collins. I've moved into a bigger place, earned a promotion, still see Isla, sleep deeply, laugh often. And sometimes, when I pass a woman on the street who vaguely resembles Jenna, I feel absolutely nothing. And that's the best feeling of all. Because when a woman tells you she never wants to touch you again, Believe her. And when she comes crawling back, begging to touch you again, never forget, she meant it the first time. She thought she broke me. What she really did was teach me the most important truth of my life. I was never hard to love.